everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for another video from Steve Adventure Academy. So today we're going to be indoors because we see a lot of questions on the internet about sharpening and what's the minimum you need to get into sharpening. Well, you're going to see 100 different answers and 100 different sharpening systems. So let's just jump into our toolkit and see what we might come up with. So we'll start out here on the front. You'll see there are lots of opportunities. We might highlight some of these guys here in a bit. A couple of these, some of that. So there are lots of opportunities. When it comes to sharpening, all you really need to do, what it really boils down to, is you want to take an abrasive and apply it to the cutting edge of your knife in such a way as to restore the edge. Now the edge is essentially a pyramid. It may be a domed pyramid like a convex edge, or it may be a crappy V edge of varying degrees. Now the degrees on your knife impact cutting performance, but you don't need to know what the degrees are in order to sharpen it. We'll circle back to that here in a minute because we're talking about the minimum. Now there are lots of things you can do. Old leather from the leather guy, Eric Fisher Custom Leather, stropping compound, a variety of systems, if you will, freehand systems. This one's really nice, by the way, made by Cabela's, 20 bucks Canadian. It has a 600, a 380 side and a 600 side. Comes in a nice stand. It's quite wide, very easy to use. So what's the minimum that you need? Well, the minimum I would suggest that you need is some sort of permanent marker. It doesn't have to be permanent, but these work really well. The second minimum you are probably going to want is a ski sharpening, edge sharpening stone. Now, why do I say a ski edge sharpening stone? Well, this particular one is made by DMT Abrasives. It's what's referred to as a medium stone for ski sharpening. Canadian dollars, these are about $6. This same stone, if it's a knife sharpening stone from a knife website with the DNT information on the back, I've seen them as high as $42. Now, in the ski industry, they're difficult. These are considered throwaway. They're tricky to get insofar as demand can be high and supply is low, so you're probably going to want to drop into your ski shop. I would suggest in August or September when they're really making their tool orders for their back shop and see if they'll tag this on. Any bicycle shop that does downhill skis, snowboards, or ski shop will be able to help you with this. I paid $6. Very easy. Medium for those guys is about a 400, which is a nice mid-range, and we're talking about the minimum you need. What I like about 400 is it will move metal if you do make a mistake, but it moves it slow enough that you can keep up with yourself. The other thing that I like about the medium is that 400 is what I would consider to be probably the entry level for a stroppable field style edge. So your kitchen knives are going to work great with a 400 and then a strop. We'll circle back to strops here in a second. Your outside field knives are going to do great carving. They're not going to have that hair popping edge unless you strop a lot starting with a 400, but it's still a really minimum. So $6 so far. 60, I think a Sharpie by itself, usually a 2-pack is like a couple of bucks, but you might be able to find one at the dollar store for whatever they're charging at the dollar store these days. Well, the only one that remembers it was a bad joke to say, I went to the dollar store. Oh, really? What'd you pay? Now the sky's the limit. In any case, 1, 2. Now the third thing that I would suggest that you need for an entry-level sharpening kit is some kind of strop. Now a strop essentially is leather. This is an old purse that I bought at Value Village. I think I paid $8 for a leather purse. You're going to have to dig through them and know what you're looking for, but scent is probably going to tip you off. If it had no scent, it's definitely plastic. Not detectable to you at least. But you're looking for any kind of leather that the backside is going to be coarse. Then Again, if you're talking about the minimum, you don't need stropping compound. However, stropping compound will speed up the work of the strop, so you have to do less work. So you don't need it. Accessory. Your strop, you can just tighten it yourself. There's a variety of methods. I've got one that is designed to be tied around things, or I hold it with my knees and then apply outward pressure with my thighs to keep it straight and do my stropping that way. Any flat surface will work. Now, I upgraded to an old piece of flooring, hardwood flooring. I used the planed and finished side, which I roughed up with sandpaper, a little bit of glue, which you don't need, and then I clamped a second piece of flooring on the top to hold the leather flat, as a just dead flat, flatter than the prairies. And I let the wood go beyond its ultimate cure point. 2-part epoxy is going to be messy, but that contact cement where you spray both sides is probably better than what I used. I used standard carpenter's glue. It was cheap. So what did this strop cost to make? Well, about $8 for the purse. The wood was surplus, but if you had to go buy a chunk of wood, you'll probably find it on a giveaway website. You may be able to get samples from a flooring place at no cost, or they may have leftover chunks that have been thrown out that they're going to throw out. So if you don't mind scrounging, you probably get the wood for free. And then the glue, again, if you go to the dollar store and buy glue, you're going to pay whatever that is. So let's say $2 for glue. So $2, $8 purse and a sharp knife becomes a $10 strop. You can buy these from DBK if you want to support those guys. It's a beautiful strop. It's got a handle on the end. It's DBK branded. I want one really badly. However, the shipping to Canada is more than the strop itself. So that doesn't make economic sense. Wood, you can also do something simple like go to the dollar store. Again, you'll probably pay $2 for a cutting board with the back side being planed flat. Rip it in half. That gives you your clamp and also what's going to be your strop. So minimum kit. Ski stone, $6. Sharpie, let's say $2. $10 strop. Now your knives are going to be able to be hair popping sharp in no time. Not bad, huh? Now you can go get a land ski, but you have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to use this. Any system you use is going to have degrees of complication. It's going to have diminishing levels of return. You're going to be able to measure your edge. Who cares? Do you want to know what your edge angle is, or do you just want it sharp? And frankly, measuring tools that are any fun at all are $20. $20 and less than $20 and I'm done and I'm sharpening everything, or $20 just to measure my edge angle. But they're cool. Audacious Concept makes one again that I want really bad. It's a little titanium chit, very cool. But diminishing returns. Other things you might want to consider. These are also Swix branded stones from the Cross Country Ski brand, which I love. Again, you're going to pay a little bit more because they're Swix branded. But guess what? When you slide these out, ooh, D&T, same company. Now I bought a medium and a fine because I wanted to be able to bring my knife a little closer to stropping. And if your steel's real hard, having the fine is probably all you need to touch up your edge and not remove a lot of material. So, other things you might consider for your sharpening toolkit. Personally, if you're going to spend $20 on stones, this thing is awesome. Made by Cabela's, currently distributed by Bass Pro Shops, and it was $19.95 plus tax. As I've already said, $600 on the one side, $380 on the other. Now, $380 is crazy aggressive, but if you're reprofiling hard steels like I was, I reprofiled CPM 3V from a crappy 20-degree V-edge to a very relaxed, about 15-degree, possibly slightly less convex edge with the 380. It took a lot of work. But what I like about something that's manual over those work sharp gizmos is it's super hard to make a mistake. This takes a long time because you're putting sweat into it rather than letting the machine do the work. But something that goes as fast as a Dremel is using a medium, even coarse sanding belt. Sanding belts are moving fast and they're pulling a lot of material. So if you're going to buy one of those work sharps or anything powered, please at least try them out on something that you don't care about. Because if you get excited, like I would, and go straight to a real knife, you're going to make real mistakes. They're going to be real ugly, and you can't put material back. The thing to remember, the one thing that I would say to anybody starting out sharpening, particularly with an electronic device, is you cannot put material back. So the slower you remove it, the more unlikely you are to make a lasting mistake. What I also like about this is it gives you the ability to do big knives along the longer surface. Yeah, I'm doing more strokes, but I'm also keeping a nice flat work surface. And this is also, it's designed to work in this direction. And this will sharpen anything, fish hooks, anything you want to do. Really nice for 20 bucks. Something else that I bought before I got that, let's see. You probably want to keep some paper of reasonable tooth around just for sharp testing. Personally, I like phone books. Keep the phone book. Let's see. You're probably going to want a wire brush. This is Benchmark, so this came from Home Hardware. Again, you can get a paint scraping brush for a couple of dollars, and what the paint scraping brush does is it pulls the material out of your strop, because your strop is going to be removing material and the compound holds onto it. So you can just brush out your strop. This is something people won't tell you about. So maybe my minimal kit goes up another $5 to $25. I'm still nowhere near the entry level for a Lansky or what have you. Something else you can do that's cheap. Skate sharpening stone. This is a great little stone. It's an Arkansas whetstone, so I keep it stored in a plastic bag with a little bit of oil in there all the time. That's a great pocketable stone. It is curved. It's got a wide curve on the back edge and a thin curve on the front, so if you're doing serrations, again, one stop, you can do all of your knife sharpening with this, including serrations. Guess what a skate sharpening stone costs at a hockey store or what have you? It's not a skate sharpening stone. It's a skate honing stone. So you run the skates on the wheel, and then you buff the burrs off the side so your skates are actually sharp and fast. $3. So maybe I do this guy because it fits in my pocket. I can carry it all the time. And then I make my pocket strap. Well, now I'm at 13. Again, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Skate sharpening stones. Who would have thought? Well, I worked in that industry, so skate sharpening stones. The last tool I wanted to show you should be here in my sharpening collection. Pardon me while I dig a little bit. Oh, here we go. Pulled it out already. Now this one was fun. This is the Edge Crafter by Smith. A couple of tools I bought from those guys. If you really want to push a lot of metal, or if you're working with very hard steels, this is a nice viable option. It's in about the $40 range, and it's a magnetic stick. Coming with the magnetic stick are 3 grits. So let's see, that's $280. So this is really going to push steel off your knife. Then we go to $370, and finally $600. And these are just magnetic, so they drop in place. Mind your fingers, because the interface can be sharp. It's very precision. But now you can sharpen anything you want, and you can use the tool under the lawnmower, or you can lay it on the desk. You can work this way. Finally, circling back to the Sharpie. What does the Sharpie do for me? Well, the Sharpie lets me draw. I usually use the side on my knife edge, like you would with most precision sharpening systems. Need this chazzy little tool. And you color in the shiny bit. Then as you start to work with your stones, now I would freehand with any of these stones, you're going to start with a fairly shallow angle. So I'll hold the knife straight up and down. But I'm going to start with a fairly shallow angle, and I'm going to make one pass to see where I'm at pulling that black away. And then I slowly increase the angle until I'm pulling the black at the edge of the knife. Most of the time I'd be holding this way and just working back and forth. The other thing that I like about working from tip to tail, across the knife moves a lot of material, but if you take a rock, it's going to remove the DLC, which I have on a lot of my knives, in one area and not in another. By sliding back and forth, you can move the knife or the stone, whichever is easier for you, and see in the Sharpie marking where you're pulling material. It also polishes out the manufacturer's grind, because manufacturer's grinds are almost always done in this, they're moving the knife this way with a rotating belt traveling in this direction. So you'll have striations moving up and down. Gives you a real toothy edge. The factory edges are not real durable that way though, because they're so toothy. By going to the side, you'll polish those out, so you'll have a nicer edge. It'll go to mirror quicker, and you're just putting a more durable edge on because you're not creating this high tooth that's, oh my God, my knife was so sharp from the factory. And then I cut a cardboard box and my edge was gone. Factory edges, whoops. Something else to do with your factory edge. Strop it off. Just strop it out. You almost can't make a mistake. Start low and work high. It's going to polish. You can even use your magical marker to tell you where you're polishing. Wrapping up, a couple of things that you might like to have is a decent bit set to disassemble your knife if you need to do any kind of real work. In Canada, you can go with Craftsman. This is the Mastercraft, excuse me, not Craftsman. Craftsman was Sears. Mastercraft bits. Why would I buy an inexpensive Mastercraft bit set? Well, it's not that inexpensive. 2 reasons. 1, it's exhaustive. And if you damage one, you take the one into the store. The item's warranted, not the receipt. They give you a new one. Or if you take the whole set in with one damage, they may give you a brand new set. So now you have the backing of a massive multinational company, making sure you have the right tools. Other opportunities might be, if you're blessed like I was, to win a giveaway on the interwebs of a Audacious Concept driver and some Weehaw bits. Super nice. This thing is a lot of fun to use. It's a great little tool, and it's a super cool tchotchke to have in your kit. Something you can customize like I've done with mine. Let's see. Well, finally, what else can we say about sharpening? Well, Smith's also makes this great little tool, which is a little pencil. I was doing some sharpening for people, and so I needed to really be able to do serrations. So I bought a diamond stick. This has got a flat side, a rounded side. There's a groove for fish hooks, but mostly I bought it because I could flip it around and do any size serrations with this long tapered diamond stick. It's at about a 600, so it just puts the edge back on one side, then strop the back and you're really done. Finally, let's see. Well, once you get to the end of your sharpening opportunities, you are probably going to be able to do crazy stuff like batoning. So let's demonstrate the appropriate way to baton with a Spyderco. First of all, you start with your wicked little Spyderco. You get your citrus fruit out on your cutting board, and you begin batoning it with your heavy-duty DeWalt tool. The only thing you should be hitting your Spyderco lockback knife with is something heavy-duty, like DeWalt. So batoning your citrus fruit with socks is pretty much the only way you should really be batoning your citrus. There we go. Oh, goodness. Whew. That was scary. So, how to baton with a Spyderco. Just a little bonus feature to what's the minimum you need for sharpening. In every way and in every day, we hope you have a fantastic 2021. Stay sharp, and thanks for watching.